Welcome to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia, and we're coming to you live from the
757.
Good morning, Bryan.
Hey, good morning, Sofia. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today.
That's good. It's definitely a rainy, dreary day.
Very.
Yeah.
With the weather channels here, they always tell you that the weather is going to be one thing, but then I never expect for it to be correct.
Yeah.
Because they're always typically wrong.
Yeah.
But, I wasn't expecting that type of weather.
Yeah. So I looked at the weather app and seen, normally when it's like rain, when it's consistent rain the whole day, then that's when it's going to rain. But if it's like a pocket where they may be saying it rains for like 2 or 3 hours, then things can kind of change and that won't happen. But it literally said it was going to rain Friday and Saturday. And potentially Sunday. So I knew it was going to rain like this because they had it like for 100%. So,
yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But it's still Good Friday. Today's Good Friday.
Sure is.
Which is pretty good. I mean, I love this time of the year, man. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, I remember my daughter was born on Good Friday 3 years ago. So that was pretty cool. So
that means she has a birthday coming up.
That does. Her birthday is on Monday. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. It landed right on spring break week too. So she, how we always say like, I'm gonna party the whole week. Like she literally probably was gonna want to party the whole week. So
yeah. Given that in next 10 years plus, or maybe 18, April is still spring break season. I mean
but I guess it just landed right on So Yep. So I already know, like, when she gets older, when she's, like, in high school or especially, like, college, she can be like, oh, yeah, for my birthday, we can go spring. Remember back when we was growing up? Take it back. I'm kind of jumping around. Remember Spring Bling? Did you ever watch Spring Bling on TV?
In Miami?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when they had, like, the concerts. I seen somebody post, like, it was funny. Again, going way left here. But I seen somebody post on probably I think it was Instagram like a couple weeks ago. They were like, man, my goal was always to get to Spring Bling, and they just stopped it. Who would love to see this happen again? And all of the people who grew up in the early 2000s like go or whatever. But you remember, it was like the early 2000s, and it was always on spring break. They had, because I think BET had like a Spring Bling, and then MTV had something. They had their version of it too. Yep. And so I remember it used to always kind of rival back and forth or whatnot. But, it used to be sweet. They used to squirting the water guns, and they had the beach balls going. The crowd was going crazy and all that. Yeah, I always wanted to go to that, John. So,
Yep.
Yeah, so I can imagine my daughter's going to be like, Cancun birthday. Hey, I'm like, nah, nope, I'm on the plane with you.
You better let her go live her best life.
Nah, she not.
She probably won't even be like that, though.
I hope not.
So, yes. I do know exactly what you're talking about. There's been instances like, because when I used to live in Miami, I didn't really keep up with like the holiday party scenes like that.
Yeah.
But then let's just say I had a friend or a family member who came in town. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they would hit me up and be like, hey, let's go out and do something, right?
Yeah.
So I remember one year, I used to go to the beach every Sunday. And we would watch, especially during like basketball or football season, we would go to the beach, hang out all day on the sand, in the water, whatever. And then we would go to the restaurants to watch the games. And we would go to like the Clevelander and stuff like that. So it was this one Sunday where it must have been spring break. For college students, because remember, college student spring break is different from kids spring break. And I was used to kids spring break because I had a kid, you know what I mean? So I would, every time that time of year would come around, because I had done college, I was done with that. I had a kid that was actively in school, so I would be worried about my spring break.
Yeah, you was on that calendar.
Correct. Went to the beach, and it was college spring break. I was like, oh, man. But I was already on South Beach, so I was just like, you know what? I'm here. Yeah. I'm just going to stay. Yeah. And they did that whole spring bling type of thing. So there was someone out there. Mm-hmm. It was like a bunch of people. It was like 2, 3, 4 girls in the middle of this crowd dancing. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but South Beach is a topless beach. So you can be pretty much naked out there. And it's not illegal.
Correct.
So just think about that. That's exactly what was happening. I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I just sat there continuing what I was doing, and I ended up moving. We ended up moving our stuff a little bit further down the beach to kind of get away from that big crowd, because for me, big crowds always seem to bring bad things. So you never know. They might bump into each other. Somebody's girl might not like this, and then all of a sudden there's a fight that breaks out. And I don't like to be in the midst of that. I'm the person that goes the opposite way. I'm not trying to look at the drama. Yeah. So, yeah, moving on.
Okay. Yeah. That's. I'm sorry, I know we went left to start it off, but yeah, it's definitely Good Friday. I'm in a good mood, So hopefully this weather shifts a little bit, towards the end of this weekend, so we can enjoy some good weather this good weekend. So
yeah. So, this past week, I am officially a VHDA qualified trainer.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So
I had like the little, I had like the little clappers. I would play them right now. And we need to get like some little effects to them. We need to work on that. Yeah. Holla at management on that one. Yeah. Well, go ahead. Congrats, though. Congrats.
Yes. That's so what that means is, I think we talked about the Virginia Housing Program and how, you have to be within a certain income limitation in order to qualify. But one of the other items that you have to complete is their first-time homebuyers course. And so a lot of people, especially since the pandemic, have been taking the opportunity or the advantage of taking the class online. But there are still people who conduct these classes in person. So typically, as a loan officer, I send them to the online platform to complete the class virtually. But if it's a person that wants to take the class in person, now I can instruct the class and
that's cool.
Sign their certificates of completion and things like that. So that's exciting news. I was definitely excited about taking the training, and when it came, it was like, oh my God, I got to sit in this training for real. But I learned a lot, and I can't wait to set up and facilitate one. So
that's dope. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, let me know. I'll try to maybe come pop in and the first one you do.
Yeah,
show you some love. Show you some love. So that's cool.
For sure. So I was excited about that. Yesterday I had a closing. So right after the closing, me and the real estate agent, we went to Corkable and had lunch. And let's just say their food is good. This is in Chesapeake, Summit Point. It's a new restaurant that just recently opened up. And I had like a chicken and shrimp pesto pasta.
Okay. Magnifico.
It was so good. I definitely can't wait to go back. I really want to try it for dinner. I haven't had the opportunity to do so, but hopefully one day I'll get the opportunity to go out in the evening and actually hang, because I don't really get to do that too often.
No, I hear you.
Hardly ever. Only time I go out is if it's work related.
Yeah, so. I feel you. Yeah, me too. A lot of times, for us, we have babysitters that we can rely on. Really, it's just my parents, Brooke's mother sometimes, and then also one of my buddies, his daughter. I think she just turned 18. She's a senior in high school, so she watches our kids from time to time. My son actually has a big crush on her, so it's kind of funny.
That is
so
funny.
Speaking of Corkable, last Friday, like you mentioned, Brooke and I have been wanting to go to Corkable because it opened maybe like a month and a half, 2 months ago, sometime in February, if I'm not mistaken.
End of February. So it was basically March.
Yeah. So we went there last Friday, did a date night. It was cool. Like you said, I haven't tried their lunch yet, but the dinner was really, really good. We ended up getting the seafood tower. That's something that we typically like. Anytime a restaurant offers, the seafood tower where you can get like lobster, oysters, shrimp, ceviche.
Is it cold?
Yeah, it was cold. Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah. Ceviche, all of the above. We typically order that. And so we had that, and then we also shared a big ribeye steak with some mashed potatoes and asparagus. So that was pretty good. We had like I said, a really, really good time. So I'm definitely looking forward to going back and checking out Corkable more. I've met the owner before, so it was pretty cool, as well, seeing him again that evening. But yeah, Cork and Bull is dope. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I actually met the owner too yesterday. He came over. He talked to us. He came over twice and talked to us, which was not normal for most owners. So he was really nice.
How was there like a good amount of people since they just started? I know they just started doing lunch this week. Was it like a lot of people in there or no?
So I sat at the bar, and there was people in. So you've been in there before. So obviously when you first walk through the doors, you got the bar, and they have a pretty long bar too. So we sat at the bar where they make the oysters. Okay. The oyster bar. That's where we sat. And there were tables that were full behind us, but then on the other side of the restaurant, there was tables over there as well. So I would say for a lunch for a company that just recently opened this week, I mean, I feel like it was enough people.
That's good. Yeah. That's really good. Yeah. I was just wondering
usually,
if it would be...
lunch spots, they don't, and especially the week of, people are probably really don't know that they're open.
Exactly. So. That's what I was asking, because I think it'll eventually get really packed.
Oh, of course.
Just because of where it's located. I mean, you have, the way they are building it, making it a downtown area. I mean, you have all those people that live right there. I mean, most of them probably gone to work, but also a lot of times people are now working from home. So I can definitely see people popping down there and grabbing lunch or whatnot. So yeah,
exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, so last weekend I had, a day's worth of sports. So I did volleyball and soccer, but we got to the soccer game, and I don't know about you or your children, but the allergy season is killing us.
Yeah.
My daughter, she's playing soccer as well, and the pollen is so high, like when she comes home, her eyes are like watery red, even to the point of like the fluid, like, like it's just running down her face, and then that stuff dries up, so then she has like the crust around her eyes, and I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I give her Benadryl sometimes at night, like on game night. I'll give her like a Benadryl, so it's like in her system, and then I'll give her a Claritin that morning. I'll put eye drops in her eyes, and it does not work.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
And I'm just over here like, what? I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should just take her out, because it's like really bad.
Yeah. It's
really, really bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's tough. I mean, my kids, my whole household, we all have allergies. I take allergy medicine every single morning. So do all of them. Too. Some days are worse than others. It's kind of one of them things, just growing up here, being in the area. It's always been like that, to be honest with you. I've some seasons, some years, higher than others, but for the most part, it's consistent. We get pollen.
Always high.
Yeah, it's consistent. We always get pollen, so allergies are always a thing if you're affected by them. And so I've just kind of got used to it. I kind of just know, like, normally around like March time, I'll start sneezing, have a little sinus here and there. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, it's allergy season. I already know what it is. So I kind of just deal with it for like a month and a half is typically how long.
I have you around, but during this time it kills me.
Yeah, it's probably a little more severe. Yeah. So, but yeah. So I mean, that's the thing, and it's funny. I remember growing up as a kid, man, I had it really, really bad. My dad, like I said again, I knew my kids would have it because my parents had it, I had it, my sister did, and I think that she still does, actually. I was talking to her about it a couple weeks ago, but yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. Like I said, I don't know. I think just, it's kind of one of the things you just got to deal with, especially being in this area. It's a high pollen area.
Oh, trust me, I know. We don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Either that or move.
Yeah.
So yesterday was the 5th, right? No, 2 days ago was the 5th. So I had my inspection for my Section 8 tenant for the repairs that were required. I'm still waiting to see if I passed. I wonder if how things went. The tenant didn't reach out to me, so I assumed everything was all good.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully. I'll get a letter here soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully, man. Hopefully. I know this past week, honestly, work-wise, was pretty steady. I know I mentioned earlier we had went out and had dinner Friday night. Saturday, now had a game that we went to, and then that evening we had an event Sofia and I, and a couple of agents that we work with, had a CPO event. Was a chief petty officer, right?
Yep.
Yeah, chief petty officer event down in or up at Hampton. It was pretty cool. It was over at the Hampton Convention Center. Had a lot of folks.
Nice venue.
Yeah, nice venue. Had a lot of folks come out, and came by. We had like a little table set up there. Had folks come by. We had a couple of giveaways that we gave away that evening. It was a vacuum cleaner was one, and I think one was a
liquor basket.
Liquor basket. Most military folks,
like to
drink like a sailor, as they say, right? So it was cool. Like I said, we had a good time, good turnout.
We had the best giveaways.
We
actually.
did. We absolutely did. I think definitely we had the best giveaways. And the only thing about it, like I said, with me going out Friday night with Brooke, and then that very next day going to that event, because that event was basically from like 7 to 11. So it was a longer event. It was at nighttime, and it was all the way in Hampton, which I live like 45 minutes from Hampton. So,
correct.
I didn't get back home until like close to midnight, man. And it was just like, it was a lot. So I know Sunday I was drained.
Correct.
Yeah, I was pretty drained on Sunday.
Yep. Those events, believe it or not, they can be fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're required to just like be overly talkative.
Correct.
And because I'm not an overly talkative person to begin with, the efforts are a lot higher, so it drains me.
Gotcha.
So the next day, I'm like, I don't want to talk to nobody. Don't call me.
That's funny. Yeah, that's kind of honestly. I would say I'm probably more of a talkative person than you.
Probably. That's a definite green check.
Understatement, I guess. Okay. Not a blue check like Instagram. They paying for them now?
No.
All right. Green check. Okay. But yeah, no. So like I be feeling the same way like you said. Like I got family and even friends that call me, and I talk so much throughout the day because I'm talking on the phone with clients, my operations team. You,
Laura,
Kayla. I'm talking to a lot of people throughout the day.
Bill.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm talking to a lot of people throughout the day. So like when it's like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, and then my cousin calls me, or even my boy Lou, he hit me, and I know that they like to talk, and they want to talk for like an hour. Like we can't have no short conversation. I feel rude always trying to cut the conversation short. Like a lot of times, man, I don't even answer the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless it's like something where I know a specific thing they're calling. I know a lot of times they like to just kind of catch up and talk about stuff and talk about whatever. Like, I'm so talked out that I have no talking left in me. You know what I mean? So, I know exactly what you mean when it comes to that. For sure.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to. I know for me, especially like my middle child, my July baby. Ooh, when I tell you that girl can talk. Yeah. And it's funny because... I
didn't even mention the kids. You're right. Like, when I pick my kids up from school, like, my son...
Yeah.
I always ask them how their day is, and they just be talking. And then when I get home, they just talking. And his thing is he always want to know why. Like, it's never just like he asks a question and you give him an answer. Then it's like, well, why? Well, why? Why?
And
I'm like, come on, bro.
And because they're so young, you definitely want to explain why.
I try to explain it because I don't want to just...
Sometimes you just be like, look, because I said so.
There you go. I did that. yeah.
I know that's how I am. Yeah. Sometimes I tell my kids, like, let's play the quiet game.
Yeah.
Let's see who could be quiet longer.
Yeah.
I even will give a prize out. Who want ice cream if they quiet? Like, sometimes I just be needing the quiet.
Yeah, my kids got it bad. I've tried that a couple times, man. It don't work. Not consistently. It don't work.
What?
See,
that's when you gotta get the ice cream and eat it in front of them. Like, I was the one quiet.
I'm telling you. That works a little bit in front of my daughter. My son, man, he built different, man. Yeah. Like, he don't...
He like, that's all right. I'm gonna get something
cool.
else.
Yeah. He just like, he goes down with the ship, as I'll say. Like, however he feels and whatever he want to do, he's going to do it. No matter what kind of punishment you say or you threaten or whatever. You say, hey, you can't do this. He'll be like, okay. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Like, I want to do what I want to do in that moment. So if I got to sacrifice not getting something, I know I'll eventually get it again later. So what you going to do about it? That's how and he's stand on it, which I'm like, dang, like, it's crazy. So I hope he channels that energy in other areas that could really benefit him later on. But right now, that don't be getting on my nerves.
That is funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. So another good thing that happened this week is we finally got our venue set up for our second marketing event. Yep. So now we're in process of picking out the food items.
Yeah.
Which I think that we'll have here in the next like week or so, and then we can start kind of advertising for it, and we'll be sending out personal invites to certain individuals to come out and enjoy the market event. I think the first one was so successful that we had to have another one. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I think that this second venue is better than the first. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think it has its pros and cons. I think it looks better, like, because it's like right by the water, but I feel like the other one was more convenient. And I know how a lot of the times when it comes to having events, like where it's located is like, you know how they say, like, you know, real prime real estate or whatever, like. So in town center is always a good place to have an event because it's kind of like a real central location for most people, no matter where you live, Chesapeake, Norfolk, whatever. As long as you stay on this side of the water for most of the part, you know, it's pretty centralized. But where the other one is, it's kind of like tucked away in the cut.
Yeah. And
so that's the only thing about it. But yeah, as far as the event space itself, the event space is fire. I mean, it's definitely top tier. But it's just, I know sometimes people gonna look at it like, hey, where it's located and what they got to do to get there. I
think our time. I think that So before, I agree with you, but before, the first event was from what, 3 to 6? I think it was 3 to 5. I don't remember. 3 to 7.
3 to 6. I want to say it was like around happy hour time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 3 6 3 7.
So whatever the time frame was, I feel like that was during rush hour. So even though people came during a pretty reasonable, time. When they left, depending on where you live, you might have caught some traffic getting home, right? But this particular event that we're having is going to be hosted at 11 a.m. because it's more catered around like brunch. And so I feel like even though it's a little further than town center, I do feel
a lot further than town center. But go ahead. Yeah.
I do feel I don't know if you guys remember a conversation from like episodes ago when I was talking about how far things are. And he was like, oh, it's only 15 minutes. It's only 20 minutes. And then now I'm talking about this event and he's making it seem like we driving to Richmond. It's not that far.
Okay. Okay.
Compared to
you want to go there.
Compared to what you believe is far.
Okay, so whoa, you definitely don't want to go there because, like you said, we've had this conversation before, and
so you should be on board.
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about other people. You see, I never included myself in talking about when it comes to people getting there. Like I'm talking about how it is for other people. I'm a positive person. I'm just like you said all the time. I'm positive, but I'm realistic, right? Isn't that what you always say? I'm realistic, so I'm being realistic, and I just know, being from this area, knowing how it works, is that people are going to look and say, oh, that's a little bit far, and that may deter a couple of folks. But as far as the venue itself, the venue is dope, and I think a lot of people are going to try. I think it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I'm just, I was just talking about far as the.
But given the time of day, I do think that it'll be a little bit easier to get there and to leave and still have enough time to finish out your day.
Pros and cons, like I said, because even with it being earlier in the day, I mean, you got folks who couldn't come to the last event because of like, their kids getting out of school and all of that, right? With this one, I mean, most, if their kids are in school, I mean, that's not really an issue.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
It's not an issue at all.
Yeah,
I even had an agent because I told them about the event yesterday because they actually reached out to me. I was like, when are you having the next one? And I was like, well, it's going to be on the 16th from 11 to 2. They were like, oh, man, my daughter's graduating on the 17th, but I'll just make sure I book a late flight that night.
Oh, wow.
Just to come. I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about.
That's dedication right there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
I might need to start an event coordinating hustle.
Right? So yesterday when I picked up Carter, he wasn't feeling too good. I know this is completely switching subject. So he had a fever, and I'm like, man, where the heck did this fever come from? So I'm hoping that his fever doesn't trickle into the weekend because I really want to take the kids somewhere. I looked at my schedule for next weekend. I have something for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so I can't really go out of town those days. So if I do decide to go anywhere and do decide to go out of town, I'm gonna either have to leave Monday, come back Tuesday, or maybe leave Monday, come back early Wednesday morning. So just trying to figure out like what to do basically with the kids in regards to like spring break, because I don't want them just sitting in the house.
Yeah, we already got I mean, we haven't necessarily designated days yet, but we have like an agenda of we want to. I know Monday, with it actually being Sloan's birthday, we'll probably like go to like breakfast, maybe like be in the Biscuit or Tulu, you know, as far as, you know, doing that. And then we also want to go see that Mario movie. The kids want to check that out. Did it come out? Mm-hmm. It's out.
When?
I don't know exactly. I know it's in the movie theaters right now. I don't know when it came out.
I might go that I'm going to do that tonight.
Yeah, so the Mario movie's out, so they want to see that. So
I love taking my kids to the movies.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a time where they can't talk much. They having fun. They enjoying themselves. They get to eat. It's always a good time.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you for telling me, because I didn't even realize that movie came out.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, man. So I got Sloan brunch, you know, then the movies at some point. Then now he wants to go to Top Golf. He really likes. He's like, the place that you hit the balls with the food. That's what he calls it. The place you hit the ball with the food. So I'm like, that's what's up. Top Golf.
If you guys do Top Golf, you may want to book it like now, because I think they allow you to book 7 days ahead. So remember last year I did Carter's birthday at Top Golf. Mm-hmm. And so when I was trying to book, like it was always so hard to book just like a regular, I don't even know what they call it.
Bay,
mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so basically they were telling me like, well, it opens up 7 days ahead, but like if you the type of person that, you know, you wake up that morning, you're like, oh, let's do this today, chances are, especially with it being spring break, it's gonna be pretty booked. So yeah. I would definitely book that like this week for next week.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. I just hadn't decided what day, but I definitely want to do that with the kids, and then potentially like go down to the beach or go like to the aquarium or something like that. So pretty much every day next week I'm gonna do.
Have
you
like been to the planetarium here for your kids?
Not with my kids, no. But I've been to the planetarium before.
How is it? Is it like nice for kids?
Yeah, it's really nice for kids. Yeah, it's definitely nice. Yeah, I
was looking that up, and I wanted to potentially go because I didn't get a chance I looked at the IMAX options, but I want to see like the Galaxy one.
Gotcha.
They had like polar bears and something else, and
okay,
I didn't see anything about the Galaxy and the stars and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. A lot of fun stuff. I know we kind of got ahead of ourselves for talking about, you know, what we're gonna do next week. We talk about it at the end, but I know next week is spring break, so it's already kind of in my mind trying to plan it out, trying to organize and balance that.
I feel like you're already in it.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. I do, man.
All right, guys. So. You know, every week we like to do what's called exercise your knowledge. And so we ask you a mortgage-related question, and we want you to hold on to that answer. And later on in the segment, don't worry, we will reveal the answer. So today's exercise your knowledge question is, what loan program allows you to remove mortgage insurance if you make a down payment of 20% or more?
Okay. It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good question. I know last week we did a mortgage question kind of similar to this, so we'll see. I think folks may know this answer. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
May know it.
Yeah, I think that if you've been paying attention to the different programs, because, I mean, there's tons of different programs, but there are, you know, your basic four, I would say.
Yeah.
And so within those basic four, you know, we've kind of broke down what they mean, what's included in them, down payment requirements and things like that. So if you were to take a look at mortgage insurance, and if you were to make a down payment of 20%, what loan product would you potentially fall in? So
okay, definitely
think about that, and we will reveal that answer later on in the segment.
Cool.
So today's topic is going to be construction to perm loans. So I know that, was it last week, a real estate agent reached out to myself and Bryan, and basically said that they had two clients that were looking to purchase using the construction to perm option, and I pretty much assisted that to be, because I really didn't want to wrap my mind around it. So I just, handed it off like, yep, you can have that one. It's all yours. Which they are pretty good products. But I know that you recently just took some extra training just to kind of refresh, because those aren't really products that we do on a day-to-day basis.
Correct.
So with that being said, we felt like that would be a great topic for today for the people who are looking to potentially build a property on their own.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, that's, a lot of times when you do have your home search, you may be looking for a specific thing and you may not be able to find it out there, right? So being able to actually customize and build the home that you want is an option, so the construction to perm loan definitely allows you to facilitate that process. And so I definitely learned a lot more about it than what I've known before. It's been a little while since I've done one. I'm doing one right now. Shout out to my buddy Sherm. He sent one of his clients that he was doing their taxes, and they inquired about the process, and they had already kind of started the process. They were actually in the process now of purchasing the lot, and so they were looking at trying to get secure financing for the construction piece of it. And so he sent them to me, and I just wanted to kind of touch up on some of the things about the process so I can make sure I was serving them the right way. So there's two different construction loans, I guess you can say. Typically, there's the one-time close construction to perm loan, and then there's also the two-time close construction to perm loan. The major difference when it comes to the one-time or the two-time is just about the land, right? So the land that person is getting the house built on, do they own that land or not, right? So if they already own the land, then we're going to typically do that one-time close. And if they do not own the land, then the two-time close is there to allow them to get the financing to purchase the land, and then also the financing for the construction. So right now, the one I'm doing is for a woman who's a business owner, her and her husband, and they're in the process right now, which they're actually closing next week, where they're purchasing some land in Suffolk. Right, and it's already within a community that's established, but the community allows people to individually purchase different parcels and then build their own custom home. Right, so she's already securing the lot land from them, and she's putting down, I think it's either 20 to 25%. That's what that bank is requiring her to put down on this particular piece of land. And then, like I said, once she buys the land, then she's working with me, and we're kind of making that smooth transition where we're going to help her secure the construction cost, and then we're actually going to have a closing where we're going to pay off the current loan that she just established for that piece of land that she's buying, and then and combined in that is going to be the construction cost, right? So she's already working with the builder. They're going over different prices, different finishes that she wants in the home. And so we're going to do that one-time close where we're going to pay off what she owes on the piece of land. She's going to have now a full loan that she's going to have to make interest payments on between now and when construction's going to be completed. And they're estimating, typically about 6 months for this particular home that she's getting built. The construction to perm loan, they want you to be done in about 10 months.
Yep.
That's typically the allotted time frame. Now, if you do go past that 10-month time frame, there are costs that are affected, or penalties that are affected with cost. So if you go into 11th month, then there's a $500 fee that's assessed. And then if you go into another month, so basically a whole year at that particular point, there's an additional $500 cost as well. And then also what happens is, because of how long it's taken that project to happen, that builder is now going to be removed off the builder's list. So when it comes to securing construction of perm financing through Atlantic Bay, we actually have to go through a process of having that builder vetted out and making sure that they're able to perform the task, right? So, once you've done a loan or done a construction to perm, build with us as a builder, then you get put on our list. And so, if you do exceed that 10 to 12 month time frame, then we automatically get removed off that list because we feel that, hey, you may not be fit to provide that type of service when it comes to the products that we have, when it comes to the construction piece of it. So
yeah.
So there are some loan parameters that I wanted to quickly go over with you because, like we said, there are the 4 major products. So we have like your conventional loan, your FHA, USDA, and your VA loan. So you are allowed to utilize the construction to perm loans for each one of these products, but they just may have different requirements. So typically on a conventional loan, the minimum credit score is the 620, but when you're looking to build and use the construction to perm loan, then they're going to require for your credit score to be at least a 700. The max debt to income ratio is 45%. So basically what that means is just your monthly gross income before taxes and deductions have been taken out. Your gross income divided by your debts cannot equal to more than 45%. So it's still 5% down payment, which is great. For your second home, it's allowed for you to use the product of the construction to perm, but they do require you to make a down payment of 10%. You can only build a 1-unit property. You can still get the 3% in closing cost assistance from the seller. If you're putting down, I think 25%, you can get up to 6% in closing cost assistance from the seller. And then your interest rate, and we're not going to go into the weeds when it comes to interest rate, but we are going to qualify you based on the prime rate plus 2%.
Correct.
And so once you actually once you're into the process of locking the rate, then you'll know your rate later on in the process. But qualification wise, we are going to use the prime U.S. rate plus 2%.
Yeah, and I think the last time I checked, which was a couple of days ago, the prime rate was at 8%.
I thought it was 8 point, because we just had the 0.25 raise, so it's 8.25.
I know on Tuesday was 8%. I know I checked for sure. Yeah, Tuesday was 8%. But and so like what you said, as far as with the qualification piece of it, we would have to qualify that person based on a 10% rate because it's prime plus 2, and then once we get typically within about 60 days of them the construction being completed, then we can actually lock them in at at an actual interest rate, whatever the market is at that time. We also have extended lock options as well that require you to pay something up front that you get refunded back at closing. But yeah, I mean, there's different options when it comes to that. I don't want to try to get too far into the lock piece because it's definitely situational.
Yes, it's definitely situational. Yeah. So FHA allows you to also use that construction to perm product as well. And on a typical FHA loan, the minimum credit score is 600. But with this particular product, they do increase it to at least a 640. Down payment requirement is still 3.5%. You're only allowed to purchase a 1-unit property. You could receive 6% in closing cost assistance from the seller. And again, rates are determined based on situational, like Bryan said earlier. Same thing for USDA. Minimum credit score is typically a 600 for USDA, but they do increase it to a 640. Now the unique thing is that with USDA, there's a 100% finance option, so you're not typically required to make a down payment for USDA, but if you are considering the one-time close, there may be a down payment for when you purchased your own land. So that does not apply to the actual loan aspect or the construction of the loan.
Yeah,
so just keep that in mind.
Definitely. So I just want to kind of jump in there and just kind of make sure folks understand what that means. So the different down payment requirements for the different loan types that Sophia is going over. If you already own the land, then you have equity already, right? And so what happens is before the construction process starts, there's an appraisal that is done, right? Based on, the type of house. So you're going to have, right before you start building, the size of the home that you're going to build, the finishes, all that stuff is going to be present for an appraiser, the lot itself. And so they'll be able to come up with almost like a subject to value. Say, hey, once the home is complete, this is the value of the home, right? And then obviously at that point, we'll know exactly what the construction costs are and everything, right?
Right.
So if you already own the land, then we could actually use the equity that's present when it comes to that appraisal that's done prior to building the home as the down payment on the construction loan, right? So that's huge, especially on the one-time close, right? So if you're, let's say, for instance, like I'm helping this woman right now who is putting down 25% on the lot that she's purchasing. So she's buying the lot, it's like $210,000, and she's putting down a little over $40,000. So her loan is going to start around like 160, 170-ish, right? So she already has that equity there, right? So that's buying the land. So that's the lot loan. Now, the one-time construction perm that we're doing, she typically would have to do, or put a down payment down because she's going conventional, right? So she would have to put at least 5% down. But we're going to get an appraisal before we kick things off, and there's going to be equity there because when they combine the value of the land and what the home final, value is going to be when you put those together, there's going to be equity there because of what she already put down on the lot loan. So we're able to utilize that equity as the down payment on the overall construction piece. So that's huge when it comes to the one-time close. On the two-time close, typically if you don't own the land, so you're actually getting financing for the land and the construction aspect of it, that's why it's the two-time close, then there is a down payment requirement. I think most cases around like 10%, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to that. But again, in the same situation, you're able to utilize that equity, so you don't have to make like two down payments, right?
That's
you can make
correct.
a down payment on that initial, equity line of credit to purchase that particular land, and then you can use that equity as the down payment for the construction piece as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'll let you take on the VA loan because that's the only one that we really have left. So
Yeah. So VA, pretty similar as you noticed. VA, USDA, and FHA are your government loans, and they have the same credit score requirements. So VA, we typically allow 600, but with the construction to perm piece, it's 640 is the required score. They do allow 100% financing. But again, understanding the difference between the one-time and the two-time and how that could be leveraged when it comes to the equity piece of it. So if you're doing a two-time close, then you will have to put down 10%. But if you're not, if you're doing the one-time close, we already own the land, and you're really good without having to put any money down. So that's a huge win. Same thing as far as the being one unit. So you can't build a duplex utilizing the financing. It has to be, typically going to be like a single family home, right? Then also the max closing cost concessions that are able to be given from the seller is 4%, which is pretty standard, just like normally on a VA purchase as well.
correct. Yeah. The VA does allow you to get a little bit more
Correct.
in closing cost assistance sometimes because what they consider closing cost assistance and what your normal products closing cost assistance are, they do differ a little bit, but standard 4% is typically general. Now, one thing I do want to mention that I did read once before is that on the VA loan, during the construction of your property, there are interest payments that are made, but on the VA loan, the builder is the person who has to make those interest payments. So
Correct.
When utilizing your VA loan, it's a great product. It's 100%, but the veteran cannot pay those fees up front. So that's something that you have to kind of get with your builder on and make sure that they're okay with paying those interest payments. Otherwise, for the other products, the buyer typically pays those interest payments until the loan has been modified into one.
Correct.
Yeah. And also with construction to perm loans, obviously this process takes, 10 months, maybe a year to complete. And so there are required origination fees that may be additional to the fees that you pay to purchase a normal property. And that's because from the aspect of the lender, they're continuously working on this file. So you have to consider that there's always going to be someone from beginning to end working with you. So there are fees associated with that process. So
Correct. Yeah, and then also One aspect about it, I had I remember one I did before and what I'm working on now. Every time, so when you're with the builder and you guys are kind of going over the full job, they're typically going to break it down in probably like 5 to 7 different phases. And so when each phase is complete, that's when the builder will call for a draw, right? And so, because once the construction loan is closed, you basically have this money sitting in escrow that's waiting to be drawn upon once that particular phase is completed, when it comes to the construction of the home. So what happens is every time there's a draw request for the builder to get paid to pay himself and pay the subcontractors, there's a title search that's done, right? Because they have to confirm, make sure that there was no liens against the property. Typically, it's like a mechanic lien. That's something that a lot of folks, not gonna say a lot of folks, but that's something that if there is a lien that's put against the property between when construction started and, once that draw request is done, it's typically going to be a mechanic lien, right? It means one of the subcontractors put a lien against the property. Yeah, exactly, right? So, but with this structure in place, and as long as everyone knows what's expected, shouldn't be any issues when it comes to that. But there is a title search that's done, and there's also an inspection that's done as well. So they'll send an inspector out just to confirm that what the draw request is for, that work has been completed. Because you can only get the funds for work completed. You can't get You can't request a draw for work that has not been done yet, right? So you want to make sure that you and your builder are on the same page, and they understand that, hey, you can only get paid at that particular time for work that's completed, not work that's actively being done or work that's getting ready to be done, only work that's completed. So I just want to make sure that folks, knew that as well and understood that, that's how the contractor gets paid or the builder gets paid is through that draw phase. And like I said, it's typically about 5 to 7 of them. And also, speaking of fees, every time that's done, there's a fee that's associated with that, that inspector going out there and just confirming that work's been done.
Yep. There's a draw fee, and then there's also a fee for the inspector to go out.
Correct.
So, yeah. The fees are higher than your normal purchase, but you also have to consider that the time frame is totally different.
Yeah, it's a lot more risk involved too. I mean, a lot more moving parts.
Correct.
Literally moving parts. Get it? Okay. Yeah, that was over people's heads right there. Moving parts. Construction, moving parts. Yeah. But nah. Yeah.
Let it go. Stick to your day job.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. But nah, it's just a lot more going on. So obviously, whenever there's elevated risk, there's cost that's involved. That's just
Correct.
what it is.
Exactly.
So the rate's going to be a little bit higher. There's going to be a little bit more added cost throughout the process.
Yes, because that process takes a lot longer. Because if you really think about it, I mean, we can get a loan closed in less than 30 days. Correct. So the time frame that it takes to build a house, I mean, there could have been 10 different closings in that time frame.
Correct.
That the lender could have had. You know what I mean? So you also have to take into consideration the time. So everybody knows that you pay for someone's time.
Exactly.
And you put yourself in the shoes of, you allowing someone to borrow money from you. They have to pay you back interest, right?
Exactly.
So, yep, you're paying for that time. Well, I hope that you guys learned quite a bit when it comes to the construction to perm loans. They're not as popular because nowadays you can actually find a builder that's willing to pay for the construction of that property, and then you buy it whole from the builder. That's more popular here in Hampton Roads than the construction to perm. But if you're a person that is looking to build a custom home, then this option is available to you.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So earlier in the segment, we asked you guys a question, a mortgage-related question, and we wanted to go ahead and step into revealing that answer. So the exercise your knowledge question for today was, what loan program allows you to remove mortgage insurance when you're making a down payment of 20% or more?
All right. Ready.
So drum roll.
Drum roll.
All right, guys. So the answer to that question is the conventional loan.
Yep.
So for your FHA loan, it doesn't matter if you're putting 20% down, 30% down, 40, 50, 60, or 70. you are going to always pay mortgage insurance on an FHA loan.
Forever, ever?
Yes.
Forever, ever? My man Stacks used to say that back in the day.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Sorry, Ms.
exactly.
Jackson.
So if you are a person who has a FHA loan now and you have more than 20% of equity in your property, refinance that loan and get out into a conventional loan so you can remove that mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance does not benefit you as a buyer, it benefits the lender. So definitely look into that if that option is available for you. USDA doesn't even have mortgage insurance. VA doesn't have mortgage insurance. So that automatically doesn't apply to those other two programs. So it's definitely that conventional loan. Now, one thing about the conventional loan is if you don't make a 20% down payment up front, you can still refinance and remove mortgage insurance if you have 20% of equity in the property. So
yeah,
it's
or
either
you don't even have to. Yeah, you don't even have to refinance. So you could actually.
you can actually call and just have it. Have it removed.
It's funny. So on the home that I have in Outer Banks, I did that not too long ago because the home we purchased it like right before the pandemic took off and all the houses appreciated drastically, and so I put down, because it would be purchased as a second home, I put down 10% when I bought the home. And, literally the next year, it was already there at that particular point. But we just actually did it earlier this year where we called the mortgage company up. They did an appraisal, and they were like, it was appraised for something way more than what I was even anticipating. So I was like, oh, snap, that's what's up.
Yeah,
so
that is good.
Yeah, so then they went ahead and took the mortgage insurance off because I didn't want to, in my situation, I know I could refinance, but we had the rate. Rate we had I think it's a 3.125. We have so 3 1/8 we have because we bought it right when rates were low right at the beginning of the pandemic. So we didn't want to sacrifice a higher rate in that circumstance. For the mortgage insurance we were having on the loan wasn't that much because we did put down 10% and we have good credit, because those are the two determining factors when you have mortgage insurance. It's always your credit score. Your debt to income plays a role into that as well, and how much you put down, right? Yeah. So all three of those things kind of, and
back then the loan level price adjustments were a little bit lower as well. So now things are different.
Correct.
So
correct. Yeah, much. So
different. It makes sense, but if you are a person that has a higher rate and the rates happen to be lower, then you can take advantage of refinancing and removing mortgage insurance. So just wanted to kind of point out the fact that you don't necessarily have to make the 20% down payment up front to remove mortgage insurance, but as long as you have at least the 20% of equity in the property, you can also ask for that mortgage insurance to be removed.
Absolutely.
So I feel like that's important information. If you did not know, now you know.
If you don't know, now you know. I think we referenced 4 or 5 songs in this episode, man. It's crazy. Bars.
But I guess Bars. So. All right, so what's upcoming for you?
I know we kind of touched on it today. I got a lunch with a guy that I hadn't seen actually in a while.
Yeah.
But he's an investor as myself, and so we've been kind of on social media, liking each other's stuff, whatever. And so we was
y'all was in the DMs.
Not DMs. We were just he was doing his stuff, I was doing my stuff, and so we were just we need to get together. We need to maybe there's something that I can help him with as far as some knowledge.
He text you?
Nah, we was in the DMs.
Told y'all.
Yeah, it was in the DMs.
It was in the DMs.
It goes down in the DMs, they say.
It go down in the DMs.
That's number 6 song right there, I think, man. We about to have a whole top 10 list. But yeah, so he, we've been going back and forth, and so he's a good dude, man. Guy.
Look, speaking of Yo Gotti, him and Angela together now. I remember he spoke her into existence, boy.
Yeah. So I guess I remember they joked Sierra had her prayer, Sierra had her prayer song, and she got Russell.
Yeah.
And I guess Gotti got, I don't know what he had. He had his Thug's prayer, Thug.
Wait, no, whatever. It wasn't a prayer. He was like, I got a crush on Angela.
Yeah. I'm just talking about as far as Sierra prayer, you know what I mean? That was his version of whatever. It's just talking into it, speaking into existence. Mm-hmm. But I got lunch with an old friend today, so that should be pretty cool. And then, like I said, this weekend, my daughter's birthday's on Monday, so we got a birthday party for her on Saturday. She loves gymnastics, so she's having a birthday party at the gymnastics studio that she goes to. So I'm excited to see that. I mean, it's seeing her in her own element, her own space. This morning before school, She was excited because today they were going to kind of like celebrate her birthday at school this morning. So they had her name on the board and said, "Happy birthday, Sloan." And so she lit up when she saw it. You know, and I think she's at this point because she's turning 3. So she's at that point now where it's like she understands what's going on. Like she understands like, hey, it's my birthday. Yeah, yep. Exactly. So that was just pretty cool to kind of see her light up, you know, this morning. And so on Saturday, that's going to be, you know, the goal. And then, you know, the birthday party. Then one of my buddies is having a scavenger hunt at his house because it is Easter weekend.
Yeah.
But the weather, like I said, is pretty terrible. So I don't know if that's going to be postponed or if maybe they just do something inside for the scavenger hunt. But we'll be going to that after the birthday party. And then Sunday is Easter Sunday. So I'm going to
church.
Church. Yep. He is risen. Going to my parents' church they go to, which is bring things full circle because it's right around the corner from where I grew up. So pretty cool to kind of go there. And we're supposed to like kind of color coordinate, like me, my dad, and my son's supposed to wear a certain color. My mom, my sister, and my wife, they're supposed to wear a certain color. So I don't know. We're about to see what this looks like. I think this is not going to come out right, but hey, look.
Do your mom wear the church hats?
Not for real, but she has some, and she has worn them, but that's not like her thing. She doesn't wear them like all the time or nothing like that.
But on Easter Sunday, did she?
She may pull it out. I don't know. I don't
dust
even
that
know.
Baby.
Yeah, dust it off. Yeah, blow the little dust off that joint. Yeah. So she may do that. I don't know, man. But yeah, that's Sunday.
So like they actually, when I lived in Florida. I don't know about here because I don't even think we have racetracks here, but that was like a thing. So girls would have brunches at these horse racetrack events, and they would sometimes theme them where you wear those hats.
Yeah. We got a racetrack. It's not like here in Hampton Roads. It's a little bit further out. It's like closer to Richmond.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we have a racetrack as well. But yeah.
That used to be like a thing, and ours was really, really nice. It was kind of like going to like Summit Point, but then like it had all the little shops and the good, nice restaurants. And then if you go deeper into it, you would go to the racetrack and you can kind of like watch the races and stuff like that. So yeah, we used to do that. I think I had a birthday. I did I did have a birthday event at the racetrack once before.
Okay. Yep. That sounds cool. Sounds cool.
It was nice. I threw it myself.
You say you threw it yourself. That's what's up.
No, my friend pretty much did it. I just invited folks out.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But for me, actually I'm gonna probably try to go watch that Mario movie, depending on how my son feels tonight. Tomorrow we got games, I believe, volleyball and soccer. Is soccer tomorrow? Or is it next week? No, is it canceled this week, but next week? I can't remember. I have to look at the schedule.
Yeah.
But I believe there's some type of sporting event. We've been invited to do an Easter egg hunt on Sunday, so I actually have to go and get some Easter eggs because I'm going to donate them. Since it's going to be a lot of adults and kids and stuff, I feel like bringing more Easter eggs will only make it better. So I have to put them together and get those together for Sunday. Today I have a real estate agent coming to the office because we have a short-term rental event coming up at the end of April, and so we will be just kind of going over some of the event space and just kind of thinking through how we want it to play out. And once she's done, I'm pretty much after that just going home, honestly. Oh, well, I actually got a call from a dealership telling me that this particular truck or SUV that I have been interested in finally came in for me to go and take a look at it, and it's a three-row SUV. So I'm actually excited about that.
Oh, that's cool.
We'll see. I might go. I mean, if it's too much rain outside, I probably won't go today. I ain't gonna lie to you because it's all the way like across the water. But it is exciting to know that it's there.
That's cool. Well, hopefully don't wait too long.
Right?
Somebody grab that joint. Everybody getting their tax money. Somebody go ahead and grab that joint, you know.
Listen, I wish I was getting tax money. Shoot. I remember those days.
Yeah, man. Put that entrepreneurial hat on. It's a little different.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
Shoot. Yeah. Come February, March, and April, them checks look nice.
Yeah. I hear you.
All right, guys. So you know that every time that we end the podcast, we always like to end on a positive note. So today's quote of the day is, everything that is created begins in the mind.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact, man. And one thing, too, like I'll kind of chime in on that is like, you know, for people out there who's dreaming big, dream bigger. You know what I mean? Like, I know for me, I was reading something. I know it wasn't me. I was actually watching the video, and a guy was just, you know, I kind of resonated with me where it was
You
like.
said you was watching a video on God?
No, I said I was watching the video, and I said it kind of resonated with me that a person was talking about how big their dreams are. Like, their dreams are so. Your dreams got to be so big that like they scare you, right?
Yep.
And like you ought to really dream big, because if you dream, let's say you do have a really big dream, but you obtain it, then what, right? You know what I mean? Then you're there or whatever. But if you dream so big, it's almost like a constant chase, and then you're gonna, you know, succeed and do so many things on that journey to that big dream. But if you dream something that's kind of like, you know, you can almost just reach it without really, you know, putting your arm up, you know, then you're kind of limiting yourself on really what you can truly do. So, yeah, I just want to make sure I put that out there.
The ceiling. Have you ever saw that experiment where they put, what was it, fleas or something in a jar? And, like, you put these fleas in a jar, and if you leave the cap open, the fleas jump out. But if you put the cap on
For a certain period of time.
then
they know that
take the cap off, and they know that that's the ceiling. They don't even jump out the jar no more because they've already set the ceiling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So that's all the time that we have today. Please follow me on Facebook, or us on Facebook and Instagram. Mine's is SKB_mortgage.
Yep. And mine is Bryan with the Y _ Royster, ROYSTER.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.